I just want you to know that it's humiliating being creative, but that's just how it is. Take that embarrassment and turn it into adrenaline. You just own it. Like, change can be difficult. It takes some time to get used to, but actually that's just life. And being able to accept these little things will help you. So right now, let's read a magazine. So I have a bunch of old magazines. This is this one. And actually, this is not the best one of the magazines that I've been reading, but it's quite interesting. Some art that sort of has like it has a story to it, like it says something. So this is what I've been thinking about. I want to make some more photography and art that says something. Oh, this is a good one. I'm going to make something like this. But you need people that you're close enough to and like comfortable with to be able to share this with them. And it's not easy. To be honest, that's the hardest part. Right there, the loneliest cowboy in the world. Probably the hardest part about doing any of this is doing it alone. I love being alone and having myself as company, but when I'm working on something, I love being able to ping pong ideas back and forth. I have a lot of skills in general, but it's nothing compared to the things that other people know and can do and have spent their whole life doing for fun or for work. It's just different. Anyways, let's have a little read through a magazine together. Sometimes, if you want to be seen in this new day and age, you need to be subversive, but not so subversive that an algorithm would be willing to take your work down. It used to be that you would get like a magazine and you would know that it'd be a subversive magazine. And the art in there would be different, or it'd be casual, or it'd give you another perspective. And it's not the same on the internet. So when I flick through physical magazines, my thought is, this feels shocking. Although I know that articles about this online are like this, but they wouldn't even use these same photos because a lot of platforms wouldn't be able to share the photos in here. There are more pictures in here, but I don't necessarily want to show them to you on the camera because, say, like YouTube might not approve of these pictures. So, like this is probably fine. It's art. But it's still subversive. And I like to, I feel like this is like standard. This is probably as good as you can share online. But I like making stuff, and photography is one of those things. And photography, I think, is one of the easiest ones to make, because you can literally take it anywhere and get your point across through dynamics and storytelling. That's enough of the magazine. We're going to go into the office so that we can do some crafting. Welcome to the world of tomorrow. My office / studio. Full of stuff. And my mood boards and sketches and ideas. So I got this t-shirt recently, secondhand, and I thought that's hilarious, but it was cut weird, and so I was gonna make it into like a top with like a, you can see the vision. It's gonna go like this. I'm gonna make a collar for it, like a high neck. It's gonna come round, just like this top I'm wearing is, like that. Oh yeah, that's gonna be cute. Anyways, the easiest way to describe the current project that I'm working on is a visual album, because I want to make visuals, I want to tell a story, I'm obsessed with space and sci-fi, costumes, music, things that make you feel emotions, and yeah, I want to feel alive. I feel most alive making stuff, so I actually do have a normal job as well, but it's not the same. Sometimes I think that actually I could be happy spending my whole life with normal part-time job that pays my bills and doing these projects on the side. If the projects took over, then yeah, maybe I'd be happy, but only if it was a diverse project like this one I'm running now, because I'm learning to play bass, so then I get into music and it's more of like a fun field of like lots of different skills and things to learn. Costumes and styling. I used to make clothes, so, well, I still make clothes, I just don't do it for anyone else anymore. Visuals, photography. I have been a videographer, but I don't consider myself a videographer. Like editing and filming, it's all good, but it's nothing quite like photography. Like, photography gives me the essence. And then events. Like, I actually have quite a passion for running events, and I'm quite good at it, and people have a good time, and I feel like it's immersive, it's cultural, and I love bringing people together in sort of like a cultural moment of togetherness. Also, like an allegory for society, social culture, inequality, sort of that thing, I feel like is really fun to tell through a complex narrative that is separate from our lives, and so you can sort of relate to these sort of social narratives that are all pulled from real life without ever actually having to see or confront anything in real life. So you can understand it, you can feel it, it can develop your intellectual senses without having to fully give in to what the reality is like, because it's fiction, and this fiction with the reality is sort of a way to cope. That's the hard thing about art, and that's what makes it so embarrassing, is that to really make good art, it has to be slightly subversive, has to be slightly relatable, and it has to have some kind of genuine experience. And being able to like evoke that feeling, either in sound or visual, or like actually telling it, it requires vulnerability, and that's not easy. Yeah. Anyways, do you want to look at my vision board? Although this isn't fully vision boarding for the visual album. This is also partially just a vision boarding because I like to, and I always kept a normal vision board. It used to just be made out of cardboard and sewing pins, and this one is a whiteboard because I got it from a charity shop for $5, so it's totally worth the money, and tiny magnets so that I can move things around and it's much easier. And it's just loads of sketches of stuff. Come, I show you my thing. Here are some sketches. I actually have loads of notebooks, like this one here. And they're full of, like, sketches that are just shit. Like, they're just not good. Full of sketches that are just not really what I'm going for, or, like, they're just tests and trying things out, and I wasn't quite good at drawing necessarily when I made them. And some of them I like and I don't touch. Some of them are not worth it, so then I just draw over them. Because that's it, like artists and painters, when they hate their paintings, they'll just go over it. So I just went over them with something else to get another idea across. I feel like these aren't too good or too crazy, but they're not supposed to be. What do you think we're supposed to be trying to do? I'm just having fun and inspiring myself. I feel like when you're young and you haven't seen that much, it's easy to find stuff to inspire you, and then you see more. And I like to watch a lot of like classic films that inspired a lot of other people to reinvigorate that spark. And after a while, you have to start inspiring yourself. It's sort of like how motivation comes, because you motivate. Doing the action is what will motivate you to continue to do things. And that's similar with sort of inspiration. You have to find ways to inspire yourself. So going out into nature, going to an exhibition, like, obviously when you go to an exhibition, you go to these places, you consume media and other people's ideas, but then you're sourcing knowledge for your own, and that's how you get true inspiration. It's when you start to relate something and then you can emotionally be vulnerable with yourself and see that's when you know you've found something that you can work on. And then the hardest part is also getting yourself to do it. It's really bright now, so let's just fix this. One of the harder parts is getting yourself to do it. So actually, I just pick a medium. Yeah. With clothes it's hard because, like with fashion and making clothes, if it's clothing wise, like I want to wear something or I want to feel a certain way, then yes, I can do that. But say like I feel inspired by like linear architecture, I'm not gonna go and spend like 45 hours making a linear architecture inspired suit. That's not the best way to develop inspiration and experiment, because you've committed to like a full thing. I'm never going to finish it. It's going to start to feel like something that's haunting me. So instead I'll go somewhere simple, like a sketchbook where everything's shit anyway, and then I'll do a sketch or something with a bunch of stuff just fell out, or I'll cut something up and then I can put it together after into something better. Sometimes the thing that you do doesn't actually necessarily correlate to the inspiration that you had, but then from doing that, you can take that and reallocate it in a way that inspires you again. So I drew this picture of my sister a few years ago. Coloured it in, and it looks bad. It's not great, but actually I did feel quite inspired by the colours, by like this blocky linear placement, and on the back I then had some watercolour that I also just was experimenting with line, and from these I might cut this up and re-put it back together into something new, or I might I actually found the colours really inspiring, so then I started seeking out other things with those colours, and I realised that those colours are recurrent around me. And then I can start to think about placing that onto a body or onto a medium or some kind of vessel through photography, perhaps. There is a photo that I liked that would be perfect for this. I'll put it here if I have it. If I can even post that on the internet, because it probably has boobs in it. Anyways, on to the next thing. Sometimes I have a bit of like an emotional crash, like I do loads of stuff where I plan stuff out and then I start to feel like an overwhelming sense of fear and anxiety. Let me just turn this fan off. And so I get this overwhelming sense of fear and anxiety, and sometimes I think that that's actually just a manifestation of like pent up creativity and like physical or mental energy. Sometimes mental energy feels like when you have too much physical energy, but obviously I don't always want to be doing stuff. Sometimes I'm tired, like my body's always aching, and then doing something simple can expel my mental energy. So that's also why I like learning how to play bass, because it helps me relieve my pent up mental energy. I tend to carry a sketchbook around with me. I have done for years. I always think about ways of displaying it, but obviously it's embarrassing because the main thing about this sketchbook is that it's for me. It's not for like you or for anyone else. I make the sketchbook because I like to. Like, I just like making the sketchbook. I always have, and it's something that I've always done. I just like drawing the sketchbooks. It's like a diary, like a visual diary. People have been keeping diaries since forever, and I understand why. Sometimes I like to look back, and I used to not use these sketchbooks linearly, and now I do, and I can see my thoughts and feelings and like these emotional roller coasters I go on for just regular daily life. Like, things don't really happen to me that like can torment me anymore. I sort of like curated a life in which I can have peace and do my own thing, and then I wanted to share it with other people because I thought it could help people. It helped me, and I enjoy it, and I felt like maybe there's something out there that I'm doing that could inspire others outside of just the projects that I make. So these projects I run because I like pouring myself into something to tell a story, to build something, to build a world, and to feel a part of something bigger by creating a fantasy and then visuals and helping other people that can't imagine the things that I can see in my mind zone. Not everyone has that space, and I know a lot of people who don't have that space love to see it. Like, they're also cinephiles. They love movies and photography and games and like board games and playing with things and listening to albums that are based on stories, because not everyone can visualize these things, and it's also inspiring to hear other people's visions. And so that's why I'm building my vision. There actually are a lot of times I've tried displaying things like my sketchbooks or like my ideas, and it didn't necessarily work out. Like, I have a website and I tried displaying my fashion on there. I tried like writing a bit of a blog and like bringing traffic in, but the way that it like functioned didn't fit into my life very well, and it felt like I was maintaining something I didn't care about. Especially since the collection I made, I loved the pieces, but it didn't tell my full narrative story. It felt like pieces. It felt like they were things that should have slotted into something larger. I never got to finish the something larger because I was doing it for the degree. The degree was something larger. But the story really is what meant something to me, of like spacey, alien-y looking pieces, and like the world that they would have fit in, like building up the set or like the imagery for it. That's what I really wanted, but I didn't quite get there, and so that I feel like that didn't work out for me. But if you look at the collections and where they got shown, I'm sure it went really well, and it is totally acceptable. I think it was alright. It was good. It was good enough, but it didn't fulfill a part of me that I was hoping it would. Not everything that you do will. These sketchbooks, even though no one sees them and I don't make them for anyone but myself, I do actually think that they fulfill a part of me. And it does make me feel good and happy to have them. To flip through them, I do feel a sense of accomplishment, even though they're not for me and they're not for anyone else. And sometimes when people go through them and they see them, they also think that it is wild and unusual and so uncensored and very authentic to myself. And because I took inspiration from everything I saw every day, I never really felt alone whilst doing any of the sketches or using my book. And that's why I wanted to share it with people, so that people might see it and feel something when they look through it and come up with ideas about it. And I didn't feel necessarily that with some of the more formal things that I've made. They're just less authentic. Or when I would work for other people, obviously it's not an authentic representation of me and my creativity, because it's them. Whoever I'm working for, that's what they want. And quite often they don't necessarily listen to your best perspective because they have their own. And I think a lot of that is also being young and early in an industry and not knowing how to take clients based on your style and not just based on their request. I guess being selective isn't really a choice when you first start out as well. Okay, goodbye. If you like watching me learn something, if that's inspiring, then you can watch the shorts that I make. I make shorts every day. I practice bass literally every day of the week. On Insta, if you like photography, I post my photography and generally places I've been and going, because I tend to travel a lot, on Instagram. And it's the Tiffinator on Instagram. It's also the Tiffinator on YouTube, which you're probably watching this on. Yeah, I'm Tiffany anyways, so that's me. Have a good day. If you like this, then like it. If you don't like it, just don't come back. Goodbye.